Magazine.
Hello, once again, I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, Christopher G. Mohr, and myself will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we're reviewing Pet Sematary Bloodlines, which is streaming on Paramount Plus beginning October 6, 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yes.
We'll see what happens here. Oh my. Let me introduce my crew, starting off with Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl. How you doing?
I'm fabulous. But yes, you know the line, sometimes dead is better.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You're going to apply that here? You're going to cash that chip? Are you cashing a chip before we even get started? All right. All right. No, very well. Very well. Yeah. Also joining us is the one and only, say it with me, Dave
Dreher.
Hey, how's everybody?
Good. How are you?
You got to do that line in the Fred Gwynn voice, though. It's not right. You got to do that sometimes.
Sometimes dead is
better.
Yes.
That's the way it's got to be.
Better. All right. Well, obviously, we are doing Pet Sematary Bloodlines. It's streaming on Paramount Plus, but this is a sequel to the remake, or it's a prequel to the remake. Not necessarily
correct.
The original, but it could be. It really doesn't matter. I don't know. But anyway, what we're going to do tonight, we're going to start off giving you our first impressions. Those first impressions will be spoiler free. And then we'll get into a discussion about the film. We'll get into spoilers. So once we go back to this triangular thing, that's what's happening. And then we'll wrap things up with our score 1 to 5. I don't know why I did that this time. And our favorite scene.
Scene.
Boy. Be thinking. All right,
well, I hadn't thought about that, actually.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got about 20 minutes. All right. So we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. If you do, please hit the like, subscribe, share, and friend buttons. Each click is free and easy to do. It helps us, and it also helps others like you find us.
Yep.
And we can all grow the community and be happy. Yay.
Wow. Okay.
What happened? Let's just look at the card. Let's look at the card, shall we? All right. Pet Sematary Bloodlines, available streaming on Paramount Plus beginning October 6, 2020. How many times have I said it? The synopsis is, in 1969, Judd Crandall dreams of leaving Ludlow, as we all Maine, behind. But he soon discovers sinister secrets buried inside and is forced to face a dark family story that will keep him forever united with Ludlow. Directed by Lindsey Anderson Beer, written by Lindsey Anderson Beer and Jeff Buhler. Based on the novel Pet Sematary by Stephen King. The cast includes Jackson White, Natalie Lind. I think it's Alan Lind, right?
I think it's
Alan. Forrest Goodluck.
Yeah.
Isabel LeBlanc, Henry Thomas, Jacqueline Mohr, David Duchovny, Samantha Mathis, and Pam Grier.
Waka waka.
That's a cast. There's some good names in there. Let's find out how well they did. Let's start off with Crystal Cleveland. Crystal, what was your first impression of Pet Sematary Bloodlines?
So I will say that I'm thankful that they didn't use the accent. Gwen's accent, because I think it would have been very difficult, and it could have he pulled it off in the original Pet Sematary. This guy I think was great as an actor. I really liked him, and I liked his character, and I think he was well cast. But that accent might have completely.
It would have made it so farcical, yes.
A little, yeah. I feel like only certain people can pull off that accent, and Fred Gwynn is one of them.
But I didn't think he wouldn't grow into that accent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because Fred Gwynn character was like what, in the 70s supposedly when he.
Yeah, but it's actually it
was John Lithgow in the
John Lithgow's character. Yeah.
Like fair enough. Was it? I thought it was. I don't know why I thought it was Fred Gwynn. I think it's
Fred Gwynn was in the original Pet Sematary. But in the
Okay.
remake, Judd
Oh,
Crandall was played by John
why are we
Lithgow.
talking about the remake?
Because
Because this was a prequel to the remake.
Does it matter?
No.
Yeah,
Does it
some of the
matter?
imagery matters, like the pet masks,
spiral.
the animal masks weren't in the original. That came from the remake.
Okay, I'm confused then. Sorry about that. Well, really, I really
I
only
feel
think
you.
of the original and not the remake. So, okay, I do love the original Pet Cemetery. The other movies, some of them were okay. Some of them were not so okay. I mentioned this before the review started, but I truly feel that this movie is not getting as much hate as The Exorcist Believer simply because it didn't come out at the theaters. And that is really true to me. I feel like the acting by some is very, very good, and by others is not so good.
Not so good. Oh,
To the point where it was incredibly distracting and took me out of the film. And this movie is slow. Very, very slow. So I don't want to give, we're doing spoiler free. So it has, let's just put it this way. I watched this movie with someone who does not watch horror movies very often. And there were elements of the CGI that they looked at me and went, that was so bad. Oh my gosh, that was so bad. And I have to agree with them. There was an overuse of CGI in this film. I get it. They were trying to save money. They really probably paid a lot for this cast, and some were worth it and some maybe weren't so worth it. But the CGI looked ridiculous at points. I actually, to the point where I would not have put it in the film. That's how bad it was.
wow. I don't know if I recognized it. Oh, we'll have to have a talk after the show.
It's bad.
Okay.
Especially if someone who doesn't know any better says that to me. That says I went, ugh. But yeah. The story is actually kind of cool. I did enjoy that. Usually when a movie is this bad for me, it's usually the story that's ruined it. But it wasn't the story this time.
Oh,
It was just so much other stuff with the CGI, with the acting, with how slow it was. But they could have punched it up at spots, yeah. But the story and the backstory was actually kind of cool. I liked the whole native land and about how, I don't want to talk about what happened, but how Ludlow became Ludlow. I think that was fabulous. I truly think that if they really wanted to do a prequel going back to the 1600s, when they did the 1600 stuff, talking about all that had happened with the soldiers, I think would have been awesome. Really figuring out how all that went down. I think that would have been really sweet. And then done one like this in the future. And I think that could have been better because this was a slog. I actually had to stop it. I had to stop the movie and come back to it because it was that bad.
Oh my gosh.
And I am I'm a huge X-Files fan. I am a huge David Duchovny fan. I didn't have a problem with him in this, but I was like, I think my expectations were far too high for this film. And it didn't meet any of my expectations at all. Although the actor who played Judd, I thought was fabulous. And
Jackson White,
I think, I think him and Henry, when they were like faced, I was like, that was nice casting. I felt like they looked like they could actually be father and son, and I liked the way that they interacted. I really did see the bonding there, so that was nice.
Especially who they chose to be the mom. You could see it all kind of in that face. But that's a different story.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, who is a uber Stephen King fan, are you not?
I am indeed.
So this will be
Stephen King fan.
Yeah, this will be quite interesting. What was your first impression of Pet Sematary: Bloodlines?
Well, the fact that I am an uber Stephen King fan is kind of what concerned me about this, because anyone trying to write a prequel to a Stephen King tale is kind of doomed, I feel.
Doomed,
doomed, I say. But Surprisingly, I like this. I agree with Crystal. When it comes to the backstory, I thought it was great. I mean, King had laid the groundwork for a lot of this in his original story with the Macnac Indians and all that. That's all kind of in there, although it's not really pursued much. It's just in there. And Judd in the original movie and in the remake is the one who gives us that story, and now we know why he knows all that because this took it a step further and telling us the whole thing about how the families had made a pact and all that stuff. So I thought all that was great. I really enjoyed all that as well. I was also really glad they didn't try to recreate like the original one. The book and the original movie really wasn't about the pet cemetery. It was about the loss of a child and
grief.
Grief. What a parent would do
Mhm.
to reverse that and all that. And that's why it was so powerful. When I first read the book, it bothered me for months. I mean, it was really, and then I read somewhere where King had said that it was actually the hardest book he'd ever had to write. That it actually bothered him. And for some reason that made me feel better that, that it also bothered him as well. That it disturbed him to that point. And the remake made it very, very clear that they were taking things in a different direction, although we still had Gage and that whole thing. Even the remake was kind of setting the stage for more of a, this is about the cemetery. This isn't really about this family. And this played into that, I think, because again, we learn all about the cemetery. There's a couple of references. We see the fast trucks a couple times, and we get the sometimes dead is better at the very beginning, but we don't see any kids playing close to the road or any or anything like that would try to throw us there. So yeah, I kind of came out of this one a little pleasantly surprised. I did not notice any bad CGI. It is a slow burn movie, for sure, but I think it kind of had to be. I was surprised with the David Duchovny arc, where I was curious as to how he was going to fit in, and I liked the way that how he fit into thing, how that piece of the puzzle came together. So yeah, it's not top 10 material, but if you're a Stephen King fan, I think this is worth a watch.
All right, so where do I land between these two polar opposites? All right, so I found this surprisingly entertaining. I really, and it was because of the cast. It's a different story. It's more about it's more of a mystery, and the problem with that is because everybody's so familiar with this, we kind of know where the mystery goes. So it's not really a mystery. It's more of just getting there. But I really liked the cast. I thought Jackson White was, as you said, Crystal, was really good in the lead. And I kept trying to figure out where have I seen this guy before? I know I've seen him somewhere. Where? And I looked, and I can't tell you where I've seen him before. But the chemistry he had with his friends, I thought was really strong. And the girlfriend. The movie's uneven. They fumble the ball a couple times, which we'll get into in the spoilers. But I don't know. For me, I had a real good time with it. I watched it late in the evening, so I had the danger of drifting off, but I was totally into it, totally focused on it, and it. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be top 10 material like Dave said, but I think it's perfectly well suited for being on Paramount Plus and watching it on a weekend when you're looking for something, then you don't have anything to watch. I think it's perfectly fine, especially if you're interested in, Judd and what all happened as him. I like the ending. There's a lot that I liked about it. We'll get into it. There's a lot.
I wouldn't watch this coupled with the original. I don't think it would play.
No. It goes with the remake, and the remake I didn't care for. But let's get into some spoilers. Go ahead, Crystal. You were getting ready to say something.
So I agree. Watching this on Paramount Plus, that's why this is not going to get the hate as The Exorcist Believer did, because if I saw this at the theater, I probably would have walked out. Well, I'm not lying. Okay, so
it feels like a TV movie of the week, right? It
absolutely. And so let me tell you something.
Agreed.
I said the story is good. However, that doesn't mean that the screenplay is good. There was literally a point in this film where there is a phone conversation between Pam Grier and one of the other guys, and he vomits exposition, and it was horrible.
Oh,
Absolutely. You know exactly what I'm talking about, because it was really bad. It didn't, I could have thought of 100 ways to rewrite that. And I don't even understand how that, it was such a disappointment. And Timmy, he was about as scary as a puppy dog.
That's one of the fumbles. And the other fumble is the whatever they're doing with the girlfriend at the end is totally like
confusing. The editing was super weird. I was like, is she being buried or what happened? There's some bad edits.
The only time
bad and confusing. It's weird.
The only time Timmy worked was when he was behind that screen and you couldn't really see him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was creepy. And then he kept wearing like a scarf or something. I was waiting for like some kind of
like he hung himself.
Hung himself or beheading kind of thing.
I think that they really should have given. Look, the assumption that I have is that Timmy returned from the war. He had such bad PTSD that he hung himself. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, I think it.
Or he came back. Or he came back dead. And
but
I don't think he came back. I think
he would. How would he
was
have
like dishonorably discharged or something, and he hung himself. Because the dad was going.
They don't say. They don't explain.
Yeah, but the dad was going to great lengths to say he was. You know, he had a Bronze Star and he was a hero, and I mean, you knew that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
So I agree with Crystal. I think we're supposed to think he came back shamed.
Yeah, but I didn't feel like the grief of David Duchovny's character, the father, Timmy's father, was strong enough. I don't think that, because we kind of get there after the fact. I mean, we get the little, pre-credits.
And that's the problem. We didn't get
but
to see
we needed
them.
that. We needed that.
Mm-hmm.
We needed the urgency of him needing to have his son alive. And I don't think that came across. But that's not what they're concentrating on. They're concentrating on Judd's story. And that's more of a drama, more of, right? It's less the horror and more the drama, and it only becomes the horror is when he intersects with the other story. So
still don't feel for Timmy because you really didn't see enough of the boys together. Now, I loved the Native American man or guy
and his sister
and him, and oh my God, I loved the sister. She was probably my favorite, if I'm being honest. She was so cute. Oh, that actually really, I was like, of course they took the best character.
She kind of was the best character.
She was so cute. Like when she smiled and I felt like she felt very natural and I liked the relationship she had with her brother. That was sweet. And God, that was sad. But I did like the end. I agree with you, Doc. I did like the end. It made a lot of sense as, we said we wanted to serve. Great, fine. I'll buy it.
Yep. And I liked, the other one drives away. So,
and
right?
Good for him too, because poor dude, like
he wasn't there was no reason to stay anymore, was there? Right. So
that's so sad.
True.
But so I mean, is it worth a watch? Probably. And if I hadn't seen it and I saw this review, I'd still watch it because it's on Paramount Plus, so you might as well. But don't go in with high hopes.
Yeah.
That's all.
As much as I like Pam Grier, she
did not
rather
do well
miscast. Rather miscast.
Yeah.
This. Yeah.
Kind of misused in a way.
Yeah.
I can't tell if it was just that she didn't seem like she wanted to be there or.
Well, any of the time that those characters were on screen, it felt shoved in. It felt forced. The only time when it didn't feel forced is when we were concentrating on Judd and his dilemma. But I was waiting for some kind of moral choice he had to make, and I don't think he ever got to that urgency of that either. Especially once the girl was in trouble, I was like, oh, now he has to decide, right? And that would be really powerful. But no, it doesn't really go there. Not even with his father do they even attempt to think about that, right? He just picks up the ball from his father instead of grieving. He doesn't even grieve. This movie is totally missing all the grief, which is very important to
feeling for the characters, for sure.
And the storyline especially, right? So So there's problems with this movie, but in
Okay,
the
and
end,
let's be real. Why was she? Why was
What's
she
that?
still in the hospital after a dog bit her arm? Give me a
ra-
break.
rabies. Let's just say rabies. I don't know.
Because like
Fear of rabies.
I
don't
had
know.
I had like a C-section, was out the next, like the next day. I'm like,
Well, this was 80s, 70s, 60s. This was the 60s,
Yeah,
right?
it'd be the 60s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the 60s.
yeah, but
so
still, it was a dog bite.
it was
come
pretty good.
on.
Pretty strong dog bite.
Yeah, it was pretty vicious dog bite.
Did we
So
like
you-
the
Almost a mauling, I would say.
on one arm? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No,
Do we like what?
Did we like the? I don't want to say arc because I really just want to say the death. The Dan Crandall, the father, Henry Thomas's character. Did we like what happened with him? The
Well-
death, the actual visit, the gun
Oh,
coming
yeah.
through his chest.
That was actually probably that's probably one of my favorite scenes for sure.
Is
But-
that the bad CGI or is it the shots in the eye?
No, when they were when she goes down to wipe the girl's feet, that's one. There's a couple spots where they use this where the skin is where they're getting kind of degloving going on,
Mhm.
and it's horrible. Like she goes to wipe her feet and she goes like that. So bad.
Right,
It
the
is
skin just comes off.
so epically bad that I actually my jaw dropped at how bad this CGI was. Whoever did the CGI just needs to quit. Just
No, no. Oh,
just
no.
quit or go back to school. That's how bad it is.
I
Like,
totally didn't notice it as being bad.
go watch it again,
I
and you'll
will
go, oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm with Doc on this. I don't know if I just blew past it or just whatever. I honestly didn't even register
Oof.
in my viewing
It's like
experience.
she did this, and then it was like,
Because he kept.
I was like,
doing
no
it too
wonder
through
why
his
the
fingers,
acting
right?
was so bad there, because she didn't have anything to act against. But yeah, oh God, dear God.
I'll have to go back and watch it and see what I missed.
Yeah. Yeah, because Timmy does the same thing a little bit, right, with his fingers and
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
some of
when
that
he's
with him,
drawing the
too.
circles, yeah.
after he pulls the
Yeah.
fingertips off. Anyway, okay. Well, I thought the cinematography was really good. This film had an
Yes,
interesting look to
agreed.
it. It was obviously digital, but the color. You use color correction a lot, and I thought they made everything was cool, right? They
Yeah,
were
I
all
didn't
cool
have a problem
Yeah,
with the film.
Yeah, I thought it
I feel
really
like it
looked-
was.
Well, it
I feel
matched
like it was
it
the
matched
opposite. It was
tone
all
of the movie.
warm. It was kind of warm
Was it?
toned.
Was it? I
Yeah,
thought it was
but that's
cool.
what you think of when you feel. Well, that's why like they have all the sunflowers. That's a very 60s, 70s kind of vibe. I feel
Mhm.
like it definitely was like a little washed out, which is important, I think, for that kind of feeling.
to give you the
But I-
time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it matched the tone of the remake. I mean, the
Mhm.
remake was filmed the
I
same
didn't have
way.
a
That
sig-
kind of
think that was
blue,
pretty.
misty thing going on
Mhm.
throughout the
Mhm.
film. So definitely, a matter of fact, a couple times, especially those high aerial shots looking over the graveyard. I'm pretty sure they just took those from
The first
remake.
one. The first
Yeah,
one.
Oh,
from the
really?
remake. I'm pretty sure they look
Probably
identical.
then.
They looked identical.
I
Yeah,
didn't even
and
think of that. That's funny.
Yeah, because I also didn't really buy David Duchovny's, or the character Timmy's father. I didn't buy his turnaround at the end. I mean, I got that he was.
Yeah, because
but-
they didn't show enough of him. I don't
Yeah,
think.
yeah. I really think his film would have been a lot stronger if they had given us a little bit more of that, straightened out some scenes and give us that.
Same thing with this as The Exorcist Believer. You can't have all these characters and make people care about them all. You've
Right.
you've got to cull it down and make it, because I do think had they focused, like you're right, if we had seen Timmy coming back from the war with David Duchovny and something happened to him and David's anguish and then him making the choice to go do that, I think that would change, but of course then it would be focusing on him. I get it. And that's
Mhm.
not what they were trying to do, but
I wonder if they
That's
did
such
and
a-
they decided to edit it away, because I feel like
such a
the role was
big
meant to
part
be
of the
larger than it was. All right. Well, it's interesting. I feel like we're divided, but yet not too far apart.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we're
Mhm.
actually all got kind of the same
Mhm.
thing with it here.
Yeah.
I really do.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our score 1 to 5. And you've had 20 minutes to do this. What is your favorite scene as well? Crystal, the pressure is on.
I don't know. I got it. There's a few scenes that I like. Like, there's always something that's good. I'm going to give this a 2.75. And my favorite scene is actually, I'm not going to take the gun scene. I'm going to take a scene that was in the hospital, though, with a throat slit. And then actually it was when it like splashed on the girl. See, that was actually like blood, like, you know, fake blood.
They actually squirted something on her. Yes.
Yeah. And I thought that was hilarious. I was like, whoa, that's funny. So that's my favorite scene. Cool.
Okay. No, I like it. That's a good choice. Dave, your score and favorite scene.
Crystal actually gave it a much higher score than I thought she was going to, because my score is a little lower. I'm just going middle of the road, 2.5.
Oh, wow.
On this. But like I said, I think it's worth a watch. I did appreciate the kind of attention to detail of the King's original story and making sure that the backstory kind of matched up with the limited facts we already had. I kind of like what they did with that. It's definitely flawed, and I think we've pointed all those flaws out. But at the same time, especially if you're a fan of the Stephen King universe, I think it's worth a watch, because they did okay. They did okay with this one. Performances were pretty good for the most part. So, yeah, 2.5. That's what we're getting. And I'm going to go with the dog attack scene. Doc, you'd mentioned yes. Timmy was creepy when he was behind the screen door.
Yes.
And he was when he was just kind of standing there. And then I thought the dog attack was actually pretty vicious.
The dog was a great actor. I'm not kidding.
And Judd's reaction to it. I mean, I think the whole scene was kind of panic. A lot of panic, a lot of turmoil going on. I thought it was well done. So I'm going to go with that as my favorite scene.
Nice practical effects on the arm when they were trying to cover it. Oh, that's gruesome. Very good. Good choice. All right. Yes. Last comment would be, I'm going to just reiterate that, this felt like a TV movie. So streaming on Paramount Plus is very much where it belongs. And if you think of it in that respect, then I think you'll have a good time with it. I was going to give it a 3.5, but I feel like I'm giving it too much, but I was going to give it a 3.5. But for me, I was just surprised. I really was enjoying it. And a lot of it has to do with the actors. And Henry Thomas I've enjoyed Henry Thomas anytime he shows up anymore. And I'll take it. What a way to go. I mean, all he needed to do was start going cha-chunk and start firing through the chest, and that would have been having the gun go through him in the end. And he was still like how was he even talking after that?
Yeah. Is that even possible?
Because it had to go there's no way it couldn't go through ribs and backs and vital organs.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not a small weapon. But was that had to be CGI, right? That was CGI. I don't know.
Which part?
The gun goes through.
It wasn't horribly done.
Yeah, it was quick. It was a quick cut, but and right in front of Chud, he's like, oh. So there you go. That's my take on this. It's not going to be top 10. It's not even going to be honorable mention, but I'm not going to hate it either. I'm not going to put it in my bottom 10.
Yep, I'm with you, Doc.
Oh, I would definitely put it in my bottom 10.
Are you really? Nice. And what were you saying?
You give it a higher score than me, but hate it more than me.
My score is based on the fact of the movie that it is. But don't associate yourself with a franchise if you don't want to get panned. If as a Pet Sematary film, it is horrible. That's what I'm saying. As a film, it's okay. Yeah. See, there's the difference. There's a big difference. It's like the moment you slap that freaking stamp of Pet Sematary, The Exorcist on it, you better up that game. That's not.
You got a lot to live up to. That's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have trouble doing that. That's why people hate sequels, remakes, and stuff. So.
Yeah.
But when they can do it, it's gold.
When it works.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Not often. Count them on a hand or two. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Dave, Crystal, thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Doc.
Yeah.
All right, let's get out. Let's say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Gruesome Magazine.